Know these facts? The Apollo 11 astronauts were not able to get life insurance, so instead they signed hundreds of autographs as their own insurance for their families in case of tragedy. The first business Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs created together was an illegal device to make long-distance calling easier by tricking the phone companies. All of the paint on the Eiffel Tower weighs the same amount as 10 elephants, and it gets repainted every 7 years without closing to the public. There's a company in Japan who was giving 6 extra vacation days a year to employees who didn't smoke, and it actually helped push a lot of the employees to stop smoking. Roughly 67% of the Earth is under cloud cover at any given time. Ancient Babylonians did math in base 60 instead of base 10, which is why we have 60 seconds and 360 degrees for a circle. Ruth Brown was a 1950s R&B superstar that had to work low-paying jobs while she was famous because the record label was withholding her earnings.
This is for everybody that thinks Earth is a globe. If I would grab my shovel at the North Pole and I'd start digging all the way through the Earth to the South Pole, would I come out head first or feet first? And then where would the magic happen where it would flip me the right way up?
Look at this freaking guy right here. Now, as someone who places tiny homes in RV parks for a profit, I respect the heck out of this guy because he's placing tiny homes in downtown Toronto to house the homeless and keep them warm. His business is called Tiny Homes Toronto, and it's a nonprofit. They don't know who I am. This is not sponsored, but I want to highlight what they're doing.
Biggest cause of your aging, most doctors don't even know how to diagnose or treat it. It's 100% reversible because I reversed mine. Insulin resistance. It's the root cause of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and dementia.
This cartoon made in the 1970s depicts something controversial. Watch.
This man vanished after revealing a method to generate unlimited free energy. Watch this. If his invention really worked, then who made him disappear and why?
When you lose that much weight, you have to focus on detox pathways, meaning you have the same number of fat cells now as you did the day you were born. It's a really hard concept for people to understand that when I came out of the womb, I have the same number of fat cells as I do now, because fat doesn't increase or decrease in number, they increase or decrease in size, right? I mean, the cells turn over, but they increase or decrease in size. So your fat cells get larger and larger and larger. So if you've been, heavy and you progress to obesity over a prolonged period of time, you know what's in those fat cells? Pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, drugs you've done, chemicals, synthetics, histamines, all kinds of inflammatory factors. So when that cell starts to shrink again and turn into energy, it's dumping that shit back into the bloodstream. So one of the things we're focusing on with him is, he's traveling with a nurse now, so he's doing weekly IVs, something called glutathione. He does a topical glutathione spray on his skin to help his body, with detox pathways. He's taking an activated charcoal for the gut so that you can actually sop up toxins in the gut, because you can't just dump all of those toxins right back into the bloodstream. They have to go somewhere. You think of when all that fat is coming off of the body, where is it going? It's going into the bloodstream, the urine, the stool. So it can make you really, really sick.
some crazy thoughts that'll change the way you see the world. If you stopped thinking, you wouldn't exist anymore. You are made of atoms that used to be inside of stars. The atoms in your body are billions of years old, and they will outlive you. The voice inside your head has been speaking to you since birth, and it never shuts up. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, flying around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, yet you feel completely still. And some people also don't believe that's true. At some point in your life, someone unknowingly saw you for the last time. If time travel is possible in the future, where are all the time travelers? There was a time when your parents put you down and never picked you up again. That's my...
The best day of a man's life is the day he realizes that nobody's coming to save him. If he can know that and feel peace about it and almost be excited about it because he gets to go fight his own hero's journey, he'll win. If he can accept it, he'll win. I'm going to get up and go to work and do the same thing I did yesterday. The best day of a man's life is the day he realizes that nobody's coming to save him.
Anybody inside of your internal circle should never be a liar. You can have people who disagree with you. You can have people who perhaps do not share your worldview, but they should at least be honest, because lying is treachery. And weak people are always lying to themselves. So how can you expect them to tell you the truth?
Is that the El Salvador,
This is the, remember the giant MS-13 Roundup El Salvador prison?
And visiting this facility. And first of all, I want to thank El Salvador and their president for their partnership with the United States of America to bring our terrorists here and to incarcerate them and have consequences for the violence that they have perpetuated in our communities. I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American.
How gangsterish.
She's there saying, if you want to mess with us, you're going to be down here right behind me.
With a bunch of guys. Yeah. But by the way, all those guys, that is some scary, all those guys are just looking at the back of her head.
You don't see the guys off to the side with the machine gun.
Yeah, of course. It's crazy.
These guys were pretty... Yeah, all those kindergartners were very quiet, standing in line. Look at that.
She's at the El Salvador.
Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they're too distracted. The most successful people I know protect their focus like their life depends on it. It's just like a rocket at launch. It's not just about having enough fuel to take off. It's about getting rid of all the extra weight that slows you down. Because every distraction you say yes to is stealing from the life you actually want.
Isn't it crazy that the sun emits perfectly angled crepuscular rays approximately 7.2 degrees on each side? Yet we're told the sun is 93 million miles away, a million times bigger than the Earth, and light only travels straight. If that were the case, how do we consistently see these precise angles? It certainly couldn't be refraction, which is typically cited as the explanation for this. But we know that refraction is highly unpredictable, just like the way light scatters and distorts underwater like we see in a pool. Now, the fact that these rays maintain a consistent angle of 7.2 degrees on each side should raise some questions for you. If the sun were truly 93 million miles away and light only travels in straight lines, shouldn't the sun rays only appear parallel to us instead of fanning out at precise angles? Now, using basic trigonometry, when we calculate the crepuscular rays diverging at about 7.2 degrees on each side, it suggests that the sun is about 4,000 miles away and would suggest that it's much smaller than the Earth. Kind of just the way it looks. It's like all that Freemason art, the people that control this world was correct when the sun and the moon are the same size, the same distance away from the Earth, just the way it looks within the firmament. But the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. Peace and love.
Breaking news, not quite in batshit bonkers Britain, where Five Guys, the burger chain, has decided that it will pull sausages and bacon and alcohol in order to be halal compliant. This will only happen in majority Muslim areas, which include London, Birmingham, Bradford, Leicester, Luton, Dewsbury, Batley, Spain, Newcastle, in fact most cities of the UK. Actually, only 2 of the Five Guys are Muslim, but they vote Labour, so they get a majority share, and also the other 3 Five Guys don't want to be called Islamophobic. In other news, Maddie McCann's parents have been stalked by a woman claiming to be their missing daughter, Maddie McCann. She's now been arrested and charged. But Maddie McCann's own father knows it can't possibly be Maddie because Maddie was murdered. Anyway, finally, Trump is going to accept a visit from Keir Starmer. Keir's going to be trying to stick his tongue up Trump's anus. But Trump isn't going to be having any of that. Firstly, because Keir Starmer is about as relevant right now as Betamax. And secondly, because Trump knows where Keir Starmer has been. And that is all the way up Brokeback Mountain with Lord Ali. That's it. Batshit bonkers Britain.
What would happen to your body if you skipped breakfast every day? So if you had dinner at 6 p.m. yesterday, that means you'll finish around 6:30 or 7 p.m. and your fasting begins. So after about 3 to 4 hours, your insulin comes down and all the food has left your stomach. And at this point, your blood sugar normalizes. And overnight, your liver starts to cleanse itself. That's why it's important not to eat right before sleeping or within a 2-hour window of sleeping. Now, in the morning, when you wake up, your digestive system starts to reset and glucagon rises. You also have increased HGH, human growth hormone, which is really good. And this helps to heal the body. And at this point, you're also burning more fat. And at this point, your GLP-1, which is glucagon-like peptide hormone, starts to increase. And that reduces your sugar craving. Unless, of course, you break your fast. In other words, have breakfast. Hold on just 2 more hours before you break your fast and watch my other video on how to break your fast correctly.
Wake up, work, sleep, repeat. Still broke? It's not a coincidence. They call it the rat race for a reason. It's a never-ending cycle of work and stress. You're not meant to win, just to keep running, chasing after an elusive dream of financial freedom. The system is designed to keep you moving, but never truly getting ahead. Since 1971, when we left the gold standard, your time's been traded for nothing. Fiat currency, backed by debt, has replaced real value. This shift has trapped many in a cycle of endless work, struggling to make ends meet. They sold you a dream of success and happiness. Now you're drowning in bills, taxes, endless work hours, and a fake sense of freedom. You're not poor because you're lazy. You're poor because the system is rigged. Wake up.
How do you think people would feel if they found out that they now work more than peasants ever did in the past? Like, when you begin to study history, you begin to realize that during the ancient days, when the peasants kind of worked on the land of the kings, they only worked 140 days out of the year. For the other remaining 200 days, they chilled and they didn't work. Them and their families went to the creek, they went to the river, they played around. Half of the year, they couldn't work on the land because it was snowing. But today, we actually work more than they did. Most people work more than the peasants used to and have less to show for it. They have no land, they have no house, they have nothing. It's like a modern day trick, and we didn't even realize it. It's the illusion of freedom. Back in the day, you at least knew you were a bondservant. You knew it, and you had to buy your freedom. But today, you don't even know you are just a worker. And instead of cracking you a whip, they've just printed money out of thin air and told you its value, and this is what you're supposed to work your entire life for. This is just a theory, not a fact. This video was made for entertainment purposes only.
Will you put your left hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Gentlemen. Mr. Cybro.
Yes? If you really walked on the moon, why would you not do that? So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Cybro, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Really? Well, no, it's a real Bible. You have the opportunity to have $5,000.
The meeting is not open.
Well, you have $5,000 cash. You can give it to charity if you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Please
I have the tape.
It'd be fine.
Why don't you swear to? Why not? Why won't you do it? So why don't you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Mr. Cybro has made a fool of himself in front of the world.
Will you put your...
So if the heat of the sun travels 93 million miles all the way to the Sahara Desert, don't you think it would be absolutely absurd to think that it couldn't travel another 4,000 miles to Antarctica where it's freezing? It's literally a difference of 0.0004%. Now make sure to stick around because I'm going to show you tangible evidence and extreme logic that's going to show you how everything works. So we're going to play a little game here. It's called What Makes More Sense? Now this is what the globe heads believe. The sun is 1,000,000 times bigger than the earth, 93 million miles away, and it's all about angles of incidence. That's how we experience night and day. That's how we experience seasons. This is why at the equator it's scorching hot, but only 4,000 miles away at the poles it's freezing. Because the angle of the earth. And what makes more sense? This or what every single one of our ancient ancestors told us? The sun and the moon are the same size and the same distance away from the earth within the firmament above. Now check this out. This is the Gleason's map. This was the standard map of the world before the world elites came along. This is the flat earth map. And speaking of world elites, this is the exact same map that they use in the United Nations logo, with 33 sections marking 33 degrees to Freemasonry, because these parasites are all high-ranking Freemasons deceiving humanity. Now back to the Gleason's map, which is both scientifically and practically correct. Now take notice at the bottom portion of the map right here, it's going to explain the seasons. Now at the bottom of the map here, you'll see the December solstice. This is where the sun rotates more towards the south, on the outer perimeter of our stationary flat earth. And this is exactly what that looks like. So all the people in the middle experience winter. And on the other side of the map, we have the June solstice, where the sun rotates more towards the North Pole, which looks like this. So all the people in the middle experience summer. And then we have the fall equinox, which is in between summer and winter. Now you can validate this yourself by your own two eyes. In the summer, take notice of where the sun sets. I live in Canada. I watch where the sun sets in the summer. As the seasons progress towards the winter, the sun will set more south. This is the North Pole. Everything this way, this way, this way, it's all south. This is why compasses only point towards north, because it's the magnetic center of our stationary Earth. Earth is literally a torus field. Now this is how night and day works on the true model of Earth. It's just like the yin and the yang symbol. Everything was created in complete balance. The sun is masculine, the moon is feminine. Now ask yourself, what makes more sense to you, what I just explained or this absolute nonsense? The sun is 93 million miles away, 1,000,000 times bigger than the Earth, and it's all about angles. You're a globetard if you believe that. Light only travels straight, guys. Even National Geographic is showing you perfectly parallel sun rays here. Yet this is actually what we observe with our own two eyes, perfectly angled rays all the time. The sun is clearly local, just like all of our ancestors told us. Use your own mind. These United Nations parasites, these satanic fucking worshiping people have been deceiving you your whole life. The truth will set you free. Look, guys, I completely understand that when you start to see this truth, it gets very lonely along this path. Hard to collaborate and talk to other people about these things. This is exactly why I've created the Truth Seeker Society, an exclusive club for like-minded individuals who seeks to understand the true nature of our reality, crack the codes to this matrix, break free from the system, and manifest a life of abundance and freedom. There is massive things happening within this community, and I want you to be a part of it. If you wish to seek the truth and you want to break free, then click the link in my bio. I'll give you 7 days of completely free access, and I will see you in the Truth Seeker Society. Peace and love.
Yep. Anybody else?
Should the defense secretary?
What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
The UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
Okay,
and you, no. You should care about your own borders.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Do you care
No,
about
by migrants. No, do you care? Okay, you're done.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
You know what? I don't care.
Service members fighting for your country.
I don't care about your fake news.
The best thing I ever did was get my kids out of school. And you're like, oh, well, how are you going to socialize your kids? Don't. You don't want them to socialize. You want them to be independent, free thinkers, disciplined. Why would I want to socialize my kid into these fucking idiots? I tell my kids, look, you don't worry about hanging out with the kids. Worry about hanging out with their parents. The kids are going to become parents one day. If you can learn how to hang out with the older people, that's who's got all the access, the power, the wisdom, and the influence. How many of the kids you grew up with you're hanging around today? Zero. None. They're fucking deadbeats.
This has got to be the craziest coincidence in all of history. Imagine going to a doctor's appointment about an upcoming surgery you have, and this doctor is a specialist that you've never met before, nor have you even been to his clinic yet. When you walk in for the first time, the staff all react like they know you. Not just that, they're all talking to you like you were just there and came back for some reason. You, confused, ask them, what's going on? How does everyone know me? The receptionist tells you, your name is so-and-so, isn't it? Telling you your exact first and last name. Everyone there insists you were just here and go on to confirm your job and the surgery you're getting screened for, which is all true, but you didn't tell them any of this information yet. This all happened to a man named Brady Fiegel in 2015, and it's even weirder than what I just described. As you can see, he's a very distinct looking man, 6'4", ginger, red bushy beard, wears glasses, and he's a professional baseball pitcher. He was going to the doctor to undergo a very rare procedure called Tommy John surgery on his pitching arm. The reason he and the staff of the surgeon's clinic were so confused is because they just spoke to a Brady Fiegel that looked exactly like him just moments before he came, who's also 6'4", has identical facial features, is a professional minor league baseball pitcher, and was also there to get Tommy John surgery. These were two Bradys that have never met before and weren't even aware the other existed. So naturally, they took a DNA test and found out they were long-lost siblings who were separated at birth. Right? Well, they did do the test 4 years later in 2019 on a TV show called Inside Edition and found out they were actually not related at all. Like, not even super distant cousins or anything. Nothing. There is no logical explanation to this. These guys just have the most uncanny doppelganger of each other, which they met in the most bizarre way possible. Same uncommon name spelled the same way. Same appearance. Same job. Same height. Got the same arm injury at the same time. Getting it treated at the same doctor's office on the same day. This has got to be the mother of all coincidences. Like, statistically, if you were to calculate the odds of this happening, it would be a percentage with so many zeros, it would essentially be 0%. But it happened, which means nothing is impossible, and you can potentially have an exact clone of yourself somewhere out there as well.
Hi, I'm Tyler Hansen. You might know me from such videos as Do We Really Live on a Globe? And are celebrities faking their deaths and becoming other people, and even disguising themselves and playing other celebrities. But today, I want to talk to you about a movement I'm starting. A movement to switch away from the Walmarts and the Targets and the Amazons and all the people who create toxic products and do it, and they don't even really care about taking your money. They just want you to not have your money. So I'm starting a movement to switch away from those guys and switch into a United States family-owned business who actually cares about you, and they care about what they put in their products. And the best thing is, it doesn't cost anymore. You're just switching away from those other jerk-offs that don't care about us and into this family-owned business. No extra cost. You're just switching. I switched months ago, and right here, I'm going to put a little website that if you go to and fill something out, someone from my team of other people that have switched as well, will contact you and give you more information. Like I said, there's no commitment, there's no extra cost. You're just switching away from those jackoffs. So do what I did. Make the switch. You won't regret it.